Oh, hey, Joe.
How you doing, Brian?
Can you do whenever you watch a show where you learn a lesson? We all had a fun time here today, but you know what's very important? Can you do that voice?
We all had a good time today, didn't we? And what did we learn? Well, we learned don't touch downed electrical wires, don't pet scorpions, and don't slather meat on yourself when you're running through a field of dogs.
That's all great advice.
Yeah.
Wow. I want to watch that after school special. Well, where was that Captain Planet episode?
It was done live. It wasn't put on tape. Oh, it was back in the day when TV was live and you never knew what was going to happen. None of that was in the script. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was that. Well, I would watch that after school special because it was always it's good lessons, but it was always hard to watch it because it's so corny.
Yes.
It's like, hey, that's why we don't, say mean things to people. It's like, yeah, that's good, but why? I'm so corned out. Like I'm all cringy with how terrible this is.
Yeah.
I think I'm missing the lesson here.
Yeah, and the whole time I was very aware I was watching acting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there wasn't some sort of it wasn't so immersive to where it's like you can map it out in your head. You can watch this stuff. Like I already. Watching it play out in front of me like this doesn't really drive home the point any better, but now I'm just cringy about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they actually made staying sober and not going to a kegger on a Friday night look lame.
But you know what? This is not about a podcast about the 90s and the television we watched after school or on Saturdays of the Captain Planet. This is not a podcast. This is a podcast about real estate, primarily in the Kansas City metro area. Isn't that right?
I would say so. Yeah. Here we are. This is called Finally Getting to the Point.
Yes. Now that is an intro for a podcast right there. Let's talk about all of our favorite 90s nostalgia and late 80s nostalgia.
Are we still doing that or real estate? Because can I go into velvet couches at coffee shops in the 90s? Those were awesome.
I remember those. I remember velvet couches. Didn't they have the rivets along the side, holding them, stamping them into place? And I remember playing with those. This is really in there.
Yeah,
it wasn't we have staples nowadays, right? It's all cheap staples, but back then they really put some time. They really put a lot of effort into stamping that fabric into the couch.
Somehow, late 90s coffee shops ended up with all the couches your old aunts and uncles didn't want.
There's a lot of estate sales.
A lot of that, yeah.
That's real estate related. Estate sales.
Estate sales. I do. Yes, estate sales. But my parents go to estate sales oftentimes. They say they're just going because the estate sale is at a cool house they want to see the inside of, but then they end up buying 5 things that they didn't need.
I they ended up spending $42, which was 1,000 products. Bought 1,000 things.
Yeah, they're like, look at the deal we got on, I don't know, this car charger, and it's like, Dad, you already have 5 car chargers, but it was a deal.
There was a when I worked at Hastings, they used to, for those of you who don't know, Hastings was a place where they sold books, movies, and CDs.
Mm-hmm. Physical media. Yes.
Physical media, yes. It was a big part of what we did there. And people would come in and sell back CDs to get cash. And we did that. And there was this one guy who would come in all the time and he'd bring in every twice a week a crate of CDs, and it was driving us crazy because I'd spend half my shift going through all this stuff because you had to check every one to make sure it doesn't skip if it's scratched and stuff like that. It was so painstaking. It was terrible.
Oh, no.
And finally got to know him and so what's the deal with all this stuff? Where do you get all this stuff? He goes, well, I help people clean out houses for loved ones who move on, pass away, or estate sales or estate. Usually the family comes in, takes what they want, any memories and stuff like that, and the rest of it either we throw away or I can keep it. And usually they never take the CDs and the movies, and they was let him. So he would take those and bring them in and make an extra couple $100 off the deal, and that's how he did it. But he did it 3 times a week, and it was every time I saw him, I was like, no, I had to do a bunch of stuff this shift, and now I got to do this for the next 3 hours. This is the worst.
I was looking at an basically empty house one time, and there was this shelf that was clearly by a TV at one point, and I'm looking at, and somebody had just abandoned their old VHS cassettes, and there was one, as a real estate agent, part of our agreement is, all right, this does sound bad, but we don't just take stuff we want out of houses, even if it's clearly been abandoned. Obviously we don't steal stuff, but the rule is there is no line. Even if it's clearly been abandoned, you can't just decide you want it. But I remember it, and I was like, I almost called the agent. I was like, I kind of want this. It was just this pristine VHS copy of Labyrinth. And
nice.
Yeah. And I don't know that I don't know when the last time I saw that movie was, and if I even liked it, but it was just like such 80s kitsch right in my hand.
David Bowie
doing
the stuff there. And I remember watching that movie when I was a kid, and remember like when movies like were kind of like really scary. I don't know if they still are scary to kids these days, but like the scene with the things dancing around that look terrible, or like the fact that they put this young girl like through this horrible like thing really scared me. It's kind of like that scary scene in Charlie and the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when they get on that ferry, that boat, and they go through the tunnel, and it gets all scary and spooky.
Yeah,
and it goes fast, and there's like all these weird things on the wall. And I remember watching that. I'm like, I watched this when I was like in 5th grade. That was messed up.
Yeah. There were some movies with just like, did it have to be this disturbing?
Yeah. Like, we have to, these people who made these movies in the 80s were just like working some stuff out.
Yeah. Yeah.
During those times. So this is a nice segue into is I want to talk about gifts.
Okay.
And you know what? People go to garage sales, gifts, they go to estate sales. I'm not against going to like, any place where like it's secondhand and buying a gift and give it to somebody, but not everyone does that.
I mean, it's a worn out phrase, but it's the thought that counts. If you see a gift in somebody's garage sale, you don't just walk into somebody's garage and, ooh,
this is mine now.
Pruning shears. Yeah. Brian would love those.
There's dirt on them already.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. These must work really good then.
Yeah. But if like, I don't know, you saw some like old sports memorabilia for a sports fan, I did
that when I was at the antique store and I saw stuff that you would like.
Yeah.
I would buy I think we talked about this earlier. Recently, there's a Bruce Springsteen autographed picture, and the one here in Lawrence.
Oh yeah,
there's like 5 autographed pictures. Like one was AC/DC, one was Metallica, there was Aerosmith, all autographed, and one was Springsteen. Going for like $25. I'm like,
I forgot you told me. I got to go over there. Where was this?
It's at the antique shop on Mass Street.
Okay,
the big one between 9th and 8th, whatever that big one is.
Okay,
if you're heading north, it's on the right hand side.
Okay.
Yeah. Go check that out. There's stuff. I love going in there. I just love it because they have like classic magazines from like, forever, like however long ago, like whenever, like, anything like Michael Jordan related, I'm all about.
Yeah.
Big on that. But yeah, gifting. So doing that, or so you're a real estate agent. Are you allowed to receive gifts from like clients?
I believe so. I don't think that's considered a form of compensation.
Okay.
Especially at the holiday times. Like a lot of my clients are builders. They would, give the new homes agents gift cards at Christmas. And I hope I'm just like not admitting to a giant RESPA violation.
Okay. Well, we'll say check with your broker.
Yeah. Check with
your broker.
And that's where I was going. I think it would be a broker policy in each individual broker or company. Obviously if somebody's like sliding a suitcase full of cash toward your way, it's like, okay, why? But,
they put a handcuff thing around your wrist. It's chained to the thing. Like, what are we doing? Well, you're not going to, you said you weren't going to ask any question. Like, I didn't say that. Some guys with sunglasses walk in.
But normally it's more customary for the agent to give their client a gift, a closing gift or a thank you gift or something like that.
It is nice. Yeah, I got a nice gift from at my closing. Like it was like a plant. It was nice. Yeah. It was cool. Or custom stuff I like custom stuff, like engraved things or things with your name on them. Those are good. Or whatever. I
do a lot of the engraved stuff, I try and think of something personal, and I don't always, but one good example, and I hope my other clients don't hear this and they're like, oh, he didn't think of anything that cool to put on my engraved glasses. But I have a couple of friends that used to teach Taekwondo, and at the time they bought their house, they were financial advisors. So I put on their name and then your local financial ninja and I
Nice.
engraved their glasses with it.
Nice. I like that.
Or I had them engraved. I don't have an engraver myself.
It's like a Dremel in your garage.
There would be so many broken test glasses.
I
Yes.
can see you cussing. Like,
Yeah.
dang it. Yeah. Okay. So I think I would, if I was going to give a gift, or you know what the best gift always is a nice review on your website
Hey, yeah.
or on your Google accounts.
That's the best thing somebody could give me.
Or a referral.
Yeah. Or referral, or yes, a Google review. One, it helps boost our web traffic. And two, I have a really fragile ego, and it's just nice to see positive things about me online.
Yes. Well, yeah. Let's help with insecurities.
Okay. Yes.
Is that a nice way to say that? This is turning into a session.
No, don't make your review. Well, my real estate agent Joe is really insecure, so I'm putting this here to just make sure everybody knows he's a good guy.
And I am writing this because I'm told Joe is insecure, and I feel super bad for him. I don't know if I really mean this or not.
There's a thing I said. I hope he didn't take the wrong way. You know.
No, it's no. You know how it is. You just gotta. Reviews are good. Thank you notes. Some sort of gift is nice, or gift card. I feel like I would like a coffee gift card would be nice.
Sure. Everybody likes coffee.
I drink a lot of coffee.
And most coffee stores have something, at least a couple things non-coffee if you don't like it. Like I don't drink coffee. Well, get a biscotti or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's like one of those universal gifts that pretty much anyone can like.
Yeah.
Can I buy like, what are those gifts? Like you can buy real estate on the moon, name it after you or something like that?
I haven't seen that for a while. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah.
I bought you a star. Now that's some real estate right there.
Yeah. I am licensed in Kansas, Missouri, and the whole solar system.
It's commercial real estate on the, I guess maybe that's what Elon Musk is doing. Maybe he got his real estate license and he's trying to build communities that he can sell on Mars.
Yeah. He did shoot that car of his into space. It's got to land somewhere.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. He did do that, didn't he?
Yeah.
That is just a testament of bizarreness. I guess it's marketing. I mean,
I always thought it'd be funny if he did that to like get out of like meeting with people that week. It's like, hey, Elon, remember we were going to have coffee this week? And he's like, oh yeah, sorry. I shot my car into space. I can't.
No, the tags were expiring. He's like, I got to get rid of this thing.
Some other solar system has actual like patrolmen and that are patrolling space, and they're like savvy enough to know his California tags are expired.
He gets sent back with one of those orange stickers on those side windows that are hard to get off.
He gets a summons from 3 systems away.
Summons to take care of his parking tickets.
Your expired tags are no good in space.
You have to appear and talk about why you didn't renew these.
His defense is, well, you take longer to revolve around your sun. You don't even use the same calendar as me. How do you know these are expired?
Like it's parked on it's parked on a lot. It's like on grass. You're not supposed to park your car there. You have to have a driveway to park their car there. You ever see those? Like I have houses. I have like houses here where people park their cars on the grass.
Yeah.
I know there's some places where I don't know if it's a covenants thing or even like a county thing, but I'm guessing you can do that here. But I do know sometimes people are like, no, you can't do that because it looks bad. And we have a covenant that says you can't do that.
Well, yeah, it's not the most high end look. The other thing is, the engine of your car is hot, and this time of year the grass is dry. It can be a fire hazard.
Okay, yeah. There we go.
So,
the safety of the neighborhood is at stake there.
That's right.
But yeah, all right, that's a gift right there. Best car for a real estate agent. If someone like, I want to gift you a car, what car would you want?
This is something that actually comes up because real estate agents put people in their cars, and so we usually prefer roomier cars.
Okay.
Now don't everybody blow up the Honda website when I say this, but I have a Honda Accord. I am somebody who's over 6 foot tall, and even with the seat comfortable for me, I can get people in my back seat and take them around. Trunk's big enough for my signs. A lot of agents drive mid-size and full-size SUVs because of that. But my dad, he's still in real estate, but he he doesn't drive people around as much anymore. But I remember one car he had was this. Do you remember that 1988 Lincoln Town Car?
I do.
It was basically a gunboat on wheels, and it was massive.
Wasn't like the rear lights, like they had like pointing, what are they like pointing up? So they're really narrow, and they were really distinguished from like where the trunk ended and they began. They almost look like fins, kind of like how on the back of Doc Brown's what's it called? His time machine,
The DeLorean,
like those exhaust pipes he had there. They kind of had that vibe going on.
I think the early 80s ones did. His was an 88 that I think had the more modern, it still looked like something straight out of, mid 60s America. But he was always like, well, you never know when you're going to drive people around to look at houses. You got to have a real estate car. And I know some of the cars he owned, like he had before I was born, he had like a giant Mercury Grand Marquis, and he had a couple Buicks and Chryslers. And I don't know. He still had that mentality of you got to have a real estate car,
Yeah, you guys.
Yep. And I guess it rubbed off on me because it's like, if I wasn't in this line of work, I'd probably have a coupe, but,
like a smaller car.
Yeah.
People need to feel like, the car they're riding around to choose their house feels like a house.
Yeah. No, I really made a salesman in a Lamborghini dealership mad one day when I was like, I'm sorry, the Gallardo just doesn't fit enough clients for me. And
the Gallardo?
This was back when Lamborghini made the Gallardo. It was I think that's the Huracan is their new.
Sounds like a soccer player.
Lamborghini actually names their cars after bulls and bullfighters.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh darn, I did not know that.
Yeah. That's why their logo is a bull.
Are you making this up?
I am not.
You're screwing with me. Joe does this all the time. He makes up random nonsense to see if I buy it. And then he'll tell me 20 years later that was a joke.
No, I kind of wish I had gone there. Like Lamborghini names their cars after Roman lounge singers.
After Canadian lawn chair companies.
But this is another fun fact. Lamborghini started as a tractor company.
God dang it, Joe. I don't believe you.
No.
I don't believe you.
The lore is, and I don't know how accurate this is, but he bought a Ferrari with his with the money he made off of his tractor company and was enraged by the low quality. And he told Enzo Ferrari, and Enzo Ferrari's like, well, fine, go build your own car. And he did.
I suppose the next thing you're going to tell me is Super Dave's last name is Einstein.
No, you're just making stuff up.
No, his last name really is Bob. His name's Bob Einstein, R.I.P.
Here's another fun fact. Every subdivision you drive by that has the word estates in it. Yeah, that was founded by James Estate. He was a very, very prolific developer. That's why you see
his last name was Estate.
Yes, and that's why you see the word estate. James Estate.
Yeah. And he was his great uncle's last name Roundabout.
Yes, yeah.
Herman Roundabout.
So many real estate terms spun off of that family. Yes,
nice. So that's how we got the term estate.
Yes.
But it wasn't until they met Joy Commission. And she taught them.
I think there are several real estate agents who would change their name to Joy Commission.
I was thinking about changing my last name from Brian Reynolds to Brian Best.
Yeah.
Because then for SEO purposes, so I can like open up a bunch of retail stores and call them like Best Liquor Store, Best, gas station, Best whatever retail, like Best Salon. And I can, not that Google cares like if I name it that or not, and if my name is legally that, but so that way I always have like a, like, if I bought like an ad in the newspaper, like, Brian Best says the best liquor store is where you need to buy your alcohol or something like that. Right. And I can put the word best and they're like, oh, it's his name. So I got to print it like that. So
yeah.
I think it could work.
It just might, but maybe you may want to like edit that out of the podcast. Somebody might steal your idea.
Someone might steal my idea. My next idea is, liquor store. My last name is Near Me for their mobile users. Brian Near Me, Best Near Me.
Oh man, Siri took me past 10 liquor stores on my way to this one. Wow.
So it's one of the, I don't think I have the, you can have the people, if you're listening, you can have that idea. I don't even want anything anymore. I'm not going to do that.
I bought the domain name at one point, Best Homes Kansas City. Thinking I'd use it. I still might. I still have it.
Yeah, we still have it.
Yeah.
We can turn that into something.
In fact, I mean,
we can just review the best homes in Kansas City.
Yeah.
How about we should buy worst homes Kansas City? And if you make that list, it's kind of a bummer. Worst homes Kansas City. And it's always the same house of a guy we don't like. Or we'll play a joke on Chad or Kevin. Like it's always their house. Like, guys, stop saying that.
But it's the worst home. What makes it the worst? I don't know.
Guy who lives there.
Yeah,
he's just a jerk.
Yeah.
You know what? He didn't split the last tab evenly, and he ordered 2 drinks. Jerk. Nah, that's not true. Chad would never do that.
Never do that. No. No, we got to think of somebody better than Chad.
Yeah, we love Chad.
Yeah.
It's not a good fit. We got to fight. We should do it to Paul.
Paul? Yeah.
We'll play a joke on Paul. He'll think it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. He will. He'll be like, oh, yeah, come by. See my worst house.
Yeah, so we can do that. I like our idea of starting a website where we just review stuff of Kansas City. That's also a good idea.
Yeah, we keep talking about that. Let's do that.
Yeah, we should do that.
Let's review this podcast.
Yes. Well, I mean, or review you as a real estate agent. Do that.
Review you for SEO and web marketing. And
speaking of, if you search Lawrence, Kansas SEO, I do pop up number 1, which I should, because if people are going to trust me with their SEO, I should probably show that I can do it well for my own business. So,
and you changed your last name to SEO. So.
Brian, best SEO near me.
Yeah. Brian, SEO? No, it's SEO.
SEO. Sound it out. SEO.
Yeah.
Sound it out. Remember that? Remember learning how to read?
I do.
Phonics. Sound it out.
I just, right before we started recording, I saw your little boy and he was learning how to write. And I said, do you know how to spell this? And I held up a car and he's like, yeah. And
nice.
Spelled it.
But he learned how to write his name today.
Yeah.
So he's on top of it.
Yeah.
And when he learns a new thing, boy, he wants to tell everybody about it.
He did tell me about it. Yeah. And I said, well, now that you can sign your last name, you can buy real estate. You can sign contracts.
You gave him your card.
Yeah, I did.
Take my card.
Yeah. If you lose that, your dad knows how to get a hold of me. Yeah.
You can sign a contract. I think so. I don't know. This is Texas.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It'll be a few more years till he's 18 and it's legally binding. What
was that Simpsons line where there's not a jury in this country who'll put that baby behind bars? Well, maybe Texas. When Maggie shot Mr. Burns. Spoiler alert. You've had 30 years to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Spoiler alert. Maggie shot Mr. Burns.
The convergence of that one guy who's listening to our podcast and was just about to watch that episode.
And is a big enough Simpsons fan to where that spoil might ruin his day. That heads up on that.
Yeah.
And Maggie did it not to ruin your day.
Next week, we will give you a spoiler alert. We are going to tell you who shot JR.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. That was the one. That was the age where the cliffhanger for Who Shot Mr. Burns. That was when I learned that there are breaks in television shows where they leave you a cliffhanger and they don't tell you what happens till the end of the summer.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned a very valuable lesson as I tune in next Sunday to watch The Simpsons to see what happened. And there was a rerun and I was losing my mind. So I was trying to figure out who the heck shot Mr. Burns. And I had to wait months and months and months. And that's when I learned about fall schedules. And I was ready to kill somebody.
I learned about, I learned a similar lesson, but it was about canceled TV shows when one day I went to turn on the TV to watch the show Alf and it was not there. And boy, that shook my world, man.
Oh my gosh. That would have been, oh my God. Well, I like
and that was when it was in syndication. Yeah.
I like how he was just like, his big thing was eating cats and no one seemed to be like really turned off by that. Like that was gruesome. We love cats. Don't eat the cat.
I think it was a little less gory than we thought than it could have been, because you could clearly tell his mouth was fabric. It's like, oh yeah, that's not going to hurt a cat.
Yeah, we're fine. All right.
Yeah.
So Kansas City might move. Do you think they're going to move the stadium downtown? What do you think?
I have no idea.
Okay, let's say they do. What would that do to real estate down there, you think?
I think it would be a positive. How much, I'm not sure, but because like the stadium wouldn't have an impact, but because Kansas City's done so well at rejuvenating its downtown over the last 10, 15 years. It's already kind of its own destination. So
I think it'd be fun.
I think it'd be fun to have it downtown. I have a hard time picturing where the parking would go and things like that.
Yeah, I don't even want to. Thinking about that makes me cringe and be sad when I think about that, because that's a lot of cars.
Yeah.
But I will say this: when I lived in Denver, it was fun leaving the baseball game and then going to the bar.
Yeah,
that's right there. You just walk down the street and go have a drink. It was fun to go. You're in like a playful mood. You're like, we just left a game. If you win, you want to keep having fun. Yeah, it would just be, when you're at Truman, right, and you're getting ready to leave.
Yeah,
it's like you have to hang out in the parking lot a little bit, but it's kind of a bummer. I want to keep partying.
Well, a similar. It's not a stadium, but the thing that drew a lot of people downtown during the Royals playoff and World Series runs was Power and Light. That was almost like watching it at a stadium.
That was pretty cool.
And one of the most fun afternoons I ever had was, I think that was the World Cup before the last one. So it was about 8 years ago. I wasn't really into soccer, but man, one afternoon they had a World Cup match, and it was an afternoon, and we watched it at Power and Light, and it was a tie, but the atmosphere and everything was just, it was just a blast. I had so much fun. I've tried to replicate that afternoon now for 8 years, and it's just
I've been seeking that happiness again.
Yeah, I can't get there.
Chasing a dragon.
Yeah, I'm glad the U.S. and Kansas City specifically will be.
That's big, right?
Hosting World Cup games. Yeah.
Imagine my mind went to right now, like maybe I should buy like a loft downtown right now. Just buy it. And like, hopefully in 10 years, we'll be going to the Super Bowl like every year, like the Patriots did, that kind of thing. And then I'll have a loft downtown for like, the 8 games, home games, or maybe 9, whatever it is. Nowadays, now our 17 game schedule. How much fun that would be. Like you have a spot to go to for every game downtown. Or baseball game too, or something like that. So maybe I should buy a property now down there, hold on to it, and wait for the team to come downtown.
Well, a lot of people buy in homes and condos and townhouses and things around stadiums for Airbnbs. So you could use it for yourself, or you can charge $50,000 a night during a
$50,000 a night
after a ball game.
Yeah. Okay. So we get Airbnb around the stadium. We wait for the NFL to let us host a Super Bowl game.
Yes.
We get the Super Bowl, and we charge $5,000 a night, make all the money, and then hopefully the WWE has WrestleMania in Kansas City.
Ooh. Well, I mean, hey. You kind of joke, but I mean, if you were to look at Airbnb rates, they may go up a tiny bit when, there's wrestling events here in town.
Oh, totally. Yeah, for sure. And
all of that stuff. Because we're in the kind of city where like, I don't know, there's people who will drive here from like 3 hours away from like a smaller city like Springfield or something and just stay overnight, because man, who wants to drive home after WrestleMania?
No, yeah, that's you want to like get a hotel nearby so you can.
Yeah.
Odds are you might have had a beverage or two during that, so maybe it would be better just to go crash and.
They serve alcohol at WrestleMania?
I would assume they do.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, unless Stone Cold Steve Austin back in the day, those are the only 2 beers in the whole stadium he would smash together. I got the only 2. Like that jerk has the only 2 beers.
Well, that's why they're fighting in the ring, because
that's why they're so angry.
Yeah.
That's why the Undertaker keeps coming back to life. Back when he wrestled.
I'm treading water a little bit this conversation. I don't know as much about wrestling as you do. So.
I'm a big fan. I'm a fan of 90s wrestling. I watched it back when it was WWF and WCW. I was actually thinking about this. Like my favorite wrestler was Bret the Hitman Hart. And the importance of having a wrestler that was like a marquee name. So I would never watch WCW unless there was a wrestler wrestling. His name was Ric Flair. I'm sure you're familiar with Ric Flair.
I've heard all these names. Yeah.
So, I mean, whenever they had WCW, I compare it to the PGA and Live Golf because I was thinking about like all these major names from PGA Tour going over to Live Golf. And I'm like, oh, I get it. Yeah. Because I wouldn't want to watch Live Golf unless, if Tiger goes over there, I mean, of course I want to watch that. And Mickelson, I like Mickelson. And they have all these players. I'm like, it's kind of like WWF and WCW. I would always watch WWF. But if Ric Flair was wrestling, I'm gonna go watch that match. So I want to see what he does. Yeah. So it's kind of like essentially what PGA Tour and Live Golf are doing right now.
I would not have drawn a parallel between wrestling and golf like that.
Yeah, I'm also a golfing fan. So
you golfed competitively in college?
I did. Yeah, I played in college, Division II at Fort Hays State, and so I dabble still. Thinking I've been golfing more lately. My back's I've gotten a lot older, put on a lot more weight. My back hurts now. Happens, right?
Happens. Well, hey, look how many surgeries Tiger's had, Do
real estate agents? Yeah, he's had a lot. Yeah, but when you're that good, and I realized this because the way I turn and when you turn, like you stretch your back out really hard, but if you're as good as him, you get back problems.
Yeah, you're really torquing yourself.
Yeah. Real estate agents play golf. I think I've played with a few realtors in my day. But you're from like a realtor family. Golf's never really been in your. But don't you live on a golf course or your family?
My parents own a house that backs up to a golf course, and my dad doesn't golf much anymore, but he used to. And when he was a kid, early '60s, he was a caddy at one of the. I can't remember which club it was, but it was a pretty prominent club. He said one time he caddied
for Rodney Dangerfield, and they made a movie out of it.
No, but he did caddy for Mickey Mantle one time.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, geez, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, I wish I knew more details of the story. That'd be a great story to tell.
Mickey Mantle, that's enough right there. Well, I do believe, if you're a real estate agent, a realtor, or it really is like the cool thing. People always wonder, like, is playing golf a good idea for business? And I do think it is because you're literally spending 3 hours with somebody. You're playing a full 18 holes. And if you're, I've seen this before, like if it's just me when I go out there by myself and if I want to play, they don't let you play by yourself, at least around here. They put you in with like a threesome or a twosome. So you can't just go by yourself. You have to like team up with somebody else. And a lot of times people get frustrated at that because if you're not very good, you slow everybody down. Yes. It's annoying. But if you're decent or you're pretty good, they get excited because they get to see you play and they get to play along with somebody. You can make friends like that. And that's what we talk about. The question always comes up: what do you do for a living? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And so if you're a realtor and you have, people who are out there for 3 hours playing golf and you talk about what you do, and maybe they're looking for a real estate agent, or, maybe they're looking, not right now, but they'll think about you 6 months, a year from now.
No, you can forge good relationships on a golf course. That's a good place to network. And a lot of people, who are in client-based work, will buy rounds of golf for their clients or take them. That's a good kind of a fun thing to do, kind of like a gift. It's like, hey, put this afternoon aside. I'm taking a couple clients golfing. So that's a good thing to do for them, unless they don't golf, and then they'll just be like, thanks, I like walking.
It's funny how I remember when I played in high school. I played a lot when I was a teenager, and then and no one else really liked it, and it's really a thing I liked back then. I was obsessed with it. And then I turned 21 around that time, or when I moved to Lawrence. Essentially I had to kind of stop and focus on school, and I stopped for like 17 years, and then all my friends, now they've caught up to where they love playing it. They're obsessed with it now in our mid 30s and later in early 40s. And I'm all like, oh, hey, they're finally catching up to like what I've liked playing a long time ago. And they're actually getting like pretty good. And it's making me crazy because now they're better than me. I'm like, I can't have that. I was the guy playing back in the day. So
yeah. Why couldn't you have picked up this middle-aged hobby back when I was 20 like me?
I was 11 years old hanging out with dudes talking about their plumbing business.
Yeah. My first car at 16 was a big Cadillac. That's
right.
Because it fit my clubs,
Oh yeah, no, it's not. If you're not big on golf, that's why I think Top Golf does a good job, because they find a way to make it fun for someone who isn't like a golfer. So you can try it, but if you don't like it, you can stop and have a drink and eat some food.
Yeah. And I heard anecdotally, I don't know how many people this really annoys, but like real golfers who love golf are like, that's not real golf. It's like,
no, Topgolf is not. I mean, it's a driving range.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember like my friends telling me like we're going to Topgolf, and I looked it up, and then like it's a driving range. I'm like, driving ranges are not fun. They're the farthest thing from fun. You work on your game there, and it's. I mean, maybe it's fun if like for a few little bit for someone who wants to try swinging a golf club. And I get there like, they have TVs and music and have waiters and waitresses and buy food, and you don't have to like go up there and like it's a gamification of the game of golf, like of a driving range, where you're playing like accuracy. And even if people who don't hit the ball very well, you're like, well, you can try and they can practice until you get it. If you don't like it, just sit down and it's not real quote unquote golf. It's a real golf swing.
Yeah.
You're really learning how to swing the club properly. If you want to look at it that way, but
you call it glorified driving range.
A glorified driving range.
Maybe you didn't use the word glorified, but it's basically a driving range.
It's a driving range.
Which isn't the fun part of golf, but it got me thinking, if you add TVs and wait staff to anything, it could be fun. Like if there was like wide screens by my washing machine and somebody was bringing me I'd love doing laundry all of a sudden. I'd pay $25 an hour to do it.
We had a bar in Hayes, Kansas that was a bar / laundromat.
Yeah.
It's still there. It's called Sip and Spin.
Yeah.
But they got rid of the laundromat part. They just focused on the bar. So it used to be a thing where, you put your clothes in, you go have a drink, and then you come and it was a great idea if you've ever had to use laundromats. Yeah. It's a horribly boring experience, like an episode of Rocko's Modern Life where he had to go there and sit there. It was like, you sit there and you just sit there and stare at the dryer and all that. Yeah. It's a great concept, but it became so popular that they got rid of the laundromat and just focused on the bar.
Well, and now all the people who go to that bar, if you look close, they are wearing filthy laundry. They're just,
Yeah. So that's a good business idea too. So I guess if you have any new business ideas, take a boring thing and change and tie it to a bar, DMV bar.
Well, I see quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit, but not so little that it's rare. Guys who like to work in their garage, they'll put stuff out there like TVs and, their pub memorabilia and things like that, and make it look like a real living space. And, one form or another of a man cave, I suppose.
Have you ever, I want to talk about this. Have you ever been to like a corporate event where they had like entertainment, like a band or something, or a DJ? Have you ever been on where there was a comedian?
I'm struggling to think of one. I don't believe I have.
Okay, I have a number of times, and I want to talk about this really great corporate comedian. His name's Eric O'Shea.
Oh, yeah.
You know that guy?
I've met him, yeah.
Yeah, he's great, right? Yeah. He's hilarious. Yeah. And I say this because I've seen him perform like 10 times, okay? So I saw him perform at KU, and I met him there. And he's performed like corporate comedy, and it's like I've seen him like he does. I think he did a show in front of the Broncos, like John Elway. He has a photo of John Elway. Cool. And best corporate comedian. Because I know you're in the comedy scene. You do improv.
Yes.
And what do people look for? Like this dude's clean and everything, and it's very easy to work with. Works a room. Yeah. And so like something about that clean comedian experience. I don't know. Like. I don't know if you've ever been to a comedy show and you're worried like someone's not going to be funny. Like it's always kind of an iffy thing or scary thing.
Yeah. And when you say clean, sometimes people realize or people envision, oh, well, he's just going to be very not funny. He's going to be holding back, but that's not the case at all. No. I think I maybe saw Eric once when I was at KU because he did a lot of college touring as well.
Yeah. He's been doing college tours forever, for 30 years now. And he's won awards doing the college comedy circuit, and it's one of those like it's funny how he does like a clean comedy, and you think that wouldn't work at a college place, but it works marvelously. Yeah. Works marvelously. I guess if it's funny, it's funny, right? And
funny is absolutely clean or dirty. Yeah, funny is funny. So
I would get nervous. Like there was one time I was. What's it called? Is it Wolf Creek, the nuclear place? They had a comedian magician.
Really?
Yeah. And he was local. He's like from Topeka. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. It wasn't like dirty. It was just like, I don't know where he got these magic tricks. I think he got him off of Amazon from for a 5-year-old's birthday party.
Yeah. I'll ask you when we're done recording. If he was a comedian magician from Topeka, I might know who it is.
Okay, well, I don't know if it's that one. I don't know how many there are in Topeka.
There's a ton. If you think it's you, it's not you.
Well, this was like 14 years ago.
Oh yeah.
So maybe this is not the same one.
Yeah.
But I remember that like it was just like the quiet. There's silence, and then there's comic bombing silence. It's the most awkward feeling where you're just like, is this over yet? Please do something funny that I can laugh at. I don't know where to even laugh yet. Like that's the cool thing about music, right? You know when the clap.
Yeah.
You know when to applaud. Song's over, we applaud. But when a comedian's not funny, like you're like, where do I laugh? Where's the laugh supposed to happen at?
Yeah. I'm also curious how you got in to Wolf Creek Nuclear Power Plant.
Well, I was DJing the show after it. I was a DJ for so I had to. I was
forgot you did that.
Yeah.
Like, what were you like trucking in uranium or?
I was
mineral side business there.
I got turned down for a job and I couldn't take no for an answer. So I wanted to follow in the HR person and declare my love for Wolf Creek.
Yeah. I thought it was like The Simpsons.
I thought this is where I need to have gusto. I always say like, you know what? You got to knock down the doors. You got to shake the hand firmly. They give you a job. When they don't give you a job, you chase after them, which is technically stalking, I think. There's a comedian I was watching. He was talking about how they were getting dating advice from like his grandma, and grandma's like, how did you meet grandpa? He's like, well, I didn't like him at first. But then he just wouldn't take no for an answer. And he kept on bugging me every day at my job until I finally gave in and said, okay, I'll go on a date with you. Like, grandma, that was basically stalking.
That is.
You married your stalker.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, nobody has to stalk me. You can just approach me. I'm very approachable.
I'll just add you on Facebook and DM Joe. It's fine.
I'm flattered if you want to stalk me, but you don't have to go to that much work.
Nah, it's not worth it.
Camouflage and
gas is so expensive.
Gas, yeah, I'll give you a ride.
Camouflage stalking. I don't think that's stalking. I think they're hunting you at that point.
I live in a densely wooded neighborhood, so
Schwarzenegger, the Predators out there.
They make a little ghillie suit like a army sniper, and
Jesse the Body Ventura. You hear him screaming.
Well, what happened to that guy?
Jesse Ventura?
Yeah,
he's out there still.
Yeah.
Lives in Minnesota, I believe, still.
He was a governor of Minnesota for a while.
He was. I think he saw his residence up there. And last interview I heard him, I don't know where he was on, what he was on. It was relatively recently, but I think he like has, he says he goes to Mexico a lot to go surfing. So I don't know if he has like a vacation house down there or not. But I don't know, election season's coming back up, so we might see more interviews with him. Seems like he pops up every election season. Primarily presidential election season, but he always seems like he's still doing that.
Yeah.
I can't do his voice, but you can tell military, he's very direct.
Yes.
Like he gets like, it's like subject, verb, sentences, and it's very direct and intimidating. It's like, oh God, this guy's going for it. Not a whole lot of metaphors. I don't hear a lot of metaphors. It's very direct language.
Well,
it's not beating around the bush here at all, are you?
Well, there's not a lot of symbolism in professional wrestling, But I think he was special forces at some point. But yeah, he had a show for a while called Conspiracy Theory.
I remember that show. Yeah. Follow the money.
Yeah.
It was always follow the money. And the money always led to like, I don't know. That's something that he couldn't like uncover even more. I like the editing of that because he'd like go travel someplace. Like, do I get in this place? Commercial. No, I did not get in. I did not get in this place.
What's in Al Capone's vault? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm watching a bunch of early 2000s commercials about, I don't know, getyourdegreeonline.com or something like that and come back to it.
Isn't it funny though how commercials annoy us so much now, but when you watch ones from more than 10 years ago, you're like, I remember that. That was great.
Oh, the nostalgia factor settles in. Yeah. Like you did. It's almost like, I don't know if it's a theory of some kind, but like if it's a hipster thing, but what was super like not cool 20 years ago, like now everyone loves it. Just give it like if you're 20 years ago and you're a certain band, like a Nickelback kind of thing, who are still like selling out stadiums at the time, but everyone liked to not like them or hate them. And you wait long enough, just wait. We'll find our audience that loves us.
Yeah.
And that we'll talk about how cool we are. But we just have to wait 25 years. And we're one of those bands. Like, so I have to take heat for the next 25 years.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll have like a number one single, and then I got to go sell insurance for 20 years, and then I can pick the guitar back up. Okay.
Yeah. That's how it works. Or like, isn't it crazy? Like how now, like hair metal bands, like isn't Poison playing like Kaufman or Arrowhead or something like that?
Well, they
or was it Motley Crue?
They just had a concert at what's the Sprint Center called now?
T-Mobile,
where it was New Kids on the Block, Rick Astley.
Oh my God. Yeah. So basically they can still sell these things because if you liked them when you were in middle school back in the 90s, you couldn't go to it, but now you can afford it now. So you want to go relive your nostalgic middle school years.
I think several of the people I knew who went and saw that were moms of middle schoolers when the New Kids were popular, and we're probably like, this is terrible. And now they're like, oh my gosh, I remember when my kids were little.
So like Styx, back in the early 80s, or like they could probably, I hear they still sell out stadiums now, like with that nostalgia factor going on. So,
well, a lot of the classic rock bands, just had staying power. Like the Rolling Stones, until they die, will be selling out concerts. I mean,
which is probably not, which will not happen. They're not going anywhere.
No. And I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan, and he just announced a new tour that I'm sure will sell out. So.
Keep yourself healthy. You can do it. People love it. I guess that's amazing how that works out.
Yeah,
just gotta stay healthy. Keep the pipes going. But yeah, back to real estate though.
I wish the Rolling Stones were my neighbor.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool.
Or your client, you can sell them.
Yeah.
You sell their house to other rock stars.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's so easy to do. Yeah. When you have a book of rock stars to just, yes, Bob Seger's looking in this neighborhood.
I wonder how like attentive rock stars are like with getting back to you. I have a feeling they're not good at getting back to somebody.
I think their people get back with you.
Okay, it's just the manager. Like, can you please get back to me? Like, Mick Jagger is not going to do that. He's still sleeping. He's busy with other stuff. You get back. Then the manager works. There's a really funny story on YouTube where the director of Dogma, Kevin Smith. He talks about like working with Prince, about how like hard it is to like work with Prince.
Yeah.
It was a challenge because the way he phrased it was, tell Prince I can't do this. And his people were like, okay, so Prince doesn't really understand the concept of no, I can't do that, or no in general.
Oh, wow.
And so he gave an example, like if Prince says he wants a giraffe and it's Christmas Eve, you need to find a way to get him a giraffe. There is no, I can't do that, or how am I going to do that? It's like you figure out a way to do it. And if it's something like that, you hope that he kind of forgets about it and doesn't ever bring it up again. That's what you're kind of hoping for.
Well, like I do see like the houses of the famous, and the rich, or the rich and famous, as some people order those words. But and I do wonder, like, I wonder how long that house was on the market before, Beyonce bought it, or how many houses they looked at, like the Osbournes. You saw a lot of their house on their reality shows. Like, I wonder how many houses they looked around at before they settled on that one, and how much work their agent put in driving them. Like, I just immediately picture like Ozzy Osbourne in my back seat driving him. You'll love this neighborhood, Mr. Osbourne. And that really popped in my head when I can't remember if I've mentioned this on the show before, but when I saw Rogue One, the Star Wars movie, and you see Darth Vader's castle, I'm always like, oh man, wonder how much of the galaxy he looked at before he found that place,
His electricity bill is probably messed up.
What was it? His agent's doing this like buyer consultation. It's like, well, what would you like in your home, Mr. Vader? A lava lake, All right. Is that a must have?
I need lots of plugins for charging my mask.
Yeah.
I need to charge this thing if it gets low on batteries.
Yeah. Like he doesn't have staff at the Galactic Empire. They'll come in and retrofit a bunch of USB ports and stuff.
You went mini viral recently. You know that?
I did.
Yeah. With your So we posted on Reddit, on Kansas City subreddit,
Oh yeah.
your data, like the Johnson County prices over the last 10 years,
Yes.
what it was in 2011, 2010, and how it's grown in terms of sold closings of properties in Johnson County to like so far within the first 6 months of this year. That got almost to the top page. It got to the second spot, but tens of thousands of people viewed that.
That's great.
And hundreds of comments. And I got to say, you know what? We got to do more of those data things. We should do more of those.
Okay. Yeah, well, we did Johnson County. Maybe we'll hit some of the Missouri municipalities.
Of that. And we could also do like, not just that. I like the idea of like talking about celebrities. Maybe we can do like celebrity home price increases or whatever. We can like who bought Jay-Z's home over the last, like how many times it's been bought and sold over the last 20 years and how much it's gone up in value versus what, Johnson County people pay or something.
Yeah. That would be interesting, and you intuitively you think a celebrity will add value to a home, but you don't see it as much anymore. But there was always like that clickbait, like, look what happened to Mike Tyson's mansion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I bet that does happen sometimes when celebrities run out of money.
We should also do Johnson County, like new homes built in the last maybe 10 years or something. That'd be a good one.
Yeah. That'd be a good one. And we'll look at permits pulled and
or maybe I should like take like home price values sold, maybe new homes, and have like a line graph going through that. It shows what the interest rates were at the Fed or whatever, or what the average like mortgage rate was at that time, and see as the time goes on over the coming years, like how those numbers play with each other. As one goes up, the other one comes down, or whatever, however it plays out, how it reacts to it. That might be an interesting graph to have.
Yeah, that would. And interesting topic for discussion too. A lot of interest rates are up and a lot of lenders are saying that, inquiries are down, but they eventually come back up, and still your interest rate is not it's not going to hurt your ability to build equity in a home,
Right.
Long term, you can't just turn around 30 days after you bought a house.
I think it's one of those things where you want to buy a house, but interest rates have been what they have been. And then we introduce this new rate, and then then the market sees it and it reacts. And then eventually that's the rate we're used to.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you like, well, I want to buy a house, and my income is where it needs to be, and my down payment's where it needs to be, and my family or however my lifestyle is, it's where it needs to be. And I want to do it. So then you do it. Right? I feel like people are going to, as long as people are walking this planet, they're probably going to want to buy a property of some kind.
They will. And historically, we're still looking at low interest rates, and when we had Trish Reedy, the mortgage lender, on a previous episode, and started talking about things like, are rates high enough that you need to buy a point now, and things like that. She
strategies
said,
like that.
Yeah, and she said, no, it's still not really advantageous to do that yet, So
yeah, we'll have to pay attention to. We'll have to do an episode about like kind of competing bids against maybe those. I hear corporations are coming in and trying to buy things and making them rentals. I don't know much about that. I hear it's a thing. I don't know how much it represents the market right now, but yeah.
The percentage varies from metro area to metro area. It's enough that people notice, but I don't want to quote a figure without having it in front of me, but it's not quite as much as people think, but it's becoming a significant factor. So.
I bet you that stuff, this is me speculating, but I bet you that's really intense, like in a major vacation destination. Mm-hmm. Like if you want a spot in Key Largo or a spot in Key West, I'd like to buy a house there. Well, good luck. You're going to compete against someone who's going to want to rent it out to somebody. Yeah. And they have money. Like a $1 billion company wants that piece of property to sell it or to rent it.
I mean, you don't even have to be that big. I went to a seminar put on by a woman who is a real estate investor and has been able to acquire multiple properties around Branson. And it got me thinking, well, gee, I wonder how many properties around Branson, around Table Rock Lake in that area are owned by individuals anymore, or
heck, I was looking at Airbnbs for Lake of the Ozarks for later this summer. So I wanted to go down there maybe to take the family down there. I bet you, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, a lot of them are owned by small time and small, easy for me to say small time investors, but that own maybe like 3 of them, that it's enough that it's worthwhile, but it's also not so many that they can't manage it on their own. My folks, my brothers and I and their families are going, you mentioned like at the Ozarks at the end of July. It's an Airbnb. Now the one we are going to, I think we rented it off of Verbo, but I think this one is actually owned by an individual. But
sometimes I wonder about billionaires, like say a Warren Buffett or Elon Musk or one of these like outrageous, like the richest of the rich billionaires. You know how like sometimes Conan O'Brien had a joke where he would go buy every seat at a movie theater so only he can watch the movie by himself. Imagine you're like at the Ozarks and you're Warren Buffett, you just buy all the properties for yourself.
Well, you could
just have the whole lake to yourself.
Yeah. You could probably. Yeah, wow.
I wonder if you could do that.
Buffett cashes out all of Berkshire Hathaway and buys Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah, I'm going to buy all these properties. I'm going to put up a big gate. It's my lake now.
It's like when Cartman buys the amusement park and says, "You can't come here anymore." And then everybody
especially not Stan and Kyle.
Yeah.
There's a big commercial rubbing their nose in it. Yeah. And then it makes them all want to go. And they like makes everyone want to go to the amusement park, and then it becomes super successful again. Yeah. And it's like the marketing phrase of like, "You can't come," and now people want to go. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Maybe that's something to look into, but yeah, Key West, Key Largo, and like all those, is that a song? Key Largo. Oh, that's that.
Yeah.
Beach Boys
It's
song.
Kokomo. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they're talking about. That fancy area down there.
Yeah. And well, not many people listen to the lyrics closely, but it was the Beach Boys singing about buying short-term rentals. They were way ahead of the game.
We should invest, baby. We should invest in Kokomo.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll buy it fast, but we won't sell it low.
Oh, you missed the rhyme. We'll buy it fast, and we'll have great cash flow.
We'll have great cash. That's where we want to go. There's a way down the Kokomo. I had to finish the song. I'm sorry.
In my Verbo.
Wow, this is a whole thing here. Good Lord.
Oh man, we thought this would just be a bottle episode, but here we are.
There's a liquor store in my hometown that used.
Good segue.
Yeah, no, seriously. I'll tell you why. There's a liquor store in my hometown where. What's that song by the beach? Well, something tells me I'm into that song.
I think that's good. Herman's Hermits.
That's Herman's Hermit. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Joe's good at he's good at that stuff. Like those classic songs.
Or Hermits. We'll just say.
Well, the liquor store, I won't say their name, it was like, liquor, you're into something good. They just completely stole this. They took the song and put their name into it. And no one's ever called them on it. No one's ever said anything about it. I'm watching the commercial when I'm a kid. I'm like, oh, that's a famous song. They can do that. Like, no, you can't do that. There should be a cease and desist with that. But no one cared. No, the owner of that song probably wasn't in Western Kansas during that time.
Well, anyone who was watching TV in the late 90s, early 2000s cannot hear John Philip Sousa's Stars and Stripes America without it being the Velveeta theme song.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
That song never had lyrics until that came along.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Joe. Good podcast.
Great podcast. Yeah. We'll talk about real estate sometime, but
we sprinkled in some real estate in there.
Yeah.
Talked about some. Hey, we had a good time.
I had a good time.
We had a lot of fun here today. But you know what's important?
Well,
climate change or something.
What we learned today? Well, we learned vintage commercials are better.
Vintage commercials where you blatantly steal songs that probably should pay a lot of money for. But you know what? That's not cool. You shouldn't steal from artists.
It's always 3 things. What did we learn today? Vintage commercials are cool. You don't have to stalk Joe. Just approach him. And don't just steal stuff out of people's garage. Go to garage sales and buy their junk there.
We covered a lot of ground today that is very useful.
Yes.
Making the world a better place.
Yes.
All right. That has been the podcast. KSRealtyAgent.com. Like, share, subscribe to this podcast. Share it with your friends. I know Joe would like that. Joe would like.
Yes.
You know what he would hate? He would hate it if you went to his website, his Google review, leave him a Google review on his Google account profile. Joe the Realtor, Overland Park, Kansas. He would just hate that if you did that. He'd be so embarrassed.
And so if you hate me, do that. Yes.
Yeah, so you don't like him.
Yeah.
You're going to have the biggest influx of reviews ever now because
I'm writing this glowing Google review to spite Joe Stevenson. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, and subscribe, and see you next time.